Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Jock and Jill podcast. This is your boy Guru, the mad scientist, here with your girl Joan, Madden, the Gridiron goddess. And we're here this morning, after a surprise game last night where the San Diego Chargers, obviously wasn't no surprise for the kid, of course, but it was a surprise defeat of the Denver Broncos by the San Diego Chargers. And I'm not going to toot my own horn too much, but if you go back to the last podcast, then you'll know why I'm talking so confidently. Joan, how do you feel about the way that game went last night?
Oh, there was a game on last night because I'm showing up in HOMECOMING. It's homecoming, y'all. It's homecoming, y'all. Yeah, that's the mood I'm in. That's the mode I'm in. I'm magna cum laude graduate of the Winston-Salem State University, class of 2010. Yeah, I'm a damn Ram. I'm a raging Ram. Our homecoming is Saturday. We take on St. Augustine down in Raleigh, North Carolina. So I'm in that mode now, especially now that it's the weekend. The weekend's actually here. First few days of the week, not so much. I was kind of gearing up, but now that it's Friday, payday, weather nice, end of the week. Y'all almost forgot that there was a game on last night. But yeah, I'm in that mode. Shout out to my Rams. I'll catch y'all out in the yard over the weekend, no doubt. Now at the game, I just wanted to shout that out. I can never forget about football. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I saw that game, definitely. One eye open though. I ain't gonna lie. It's been a long week. I lost it because the Panthers game Monday night, going to that, the Panthers and Bucks game. And I just have not been able to recover since. But yeah, I definitely caught the game. Here's what's crazy, because on the previous episode, I picked the Broncos. And I kid you not, right? I'm at work on Thursday, the day of the game, thinking, you know what, San Diego might win this game tonight. Like, that hit my mind several times today. And then shout outs to my boy Brandon Rogers in one of the sport chat groups. He actually posted a status saying, again, mind you, I was thinking about this all day, starting 11 o'clock in the morning, like, San Diego really might win this game tonight. And it just started hitting me, and it was kind of like a hamster in a wheel on the cage. It just kept coming around, kept reoccurring. Here we are again. I'm thinking about it because Ken Wisenhunt's my boy, offensive coordinator of the Chargers, and I love Phillip Rivers. He's always been a guy with moxie, gung-ho, killer instinct, guy with taking the back alley with me, and of course he played here in North Carolina at NC State. Back to my boy Brandon Rogers. At about 3 o'clock yesterday, he posted in that sports chat group, I'm really thinking the Chargers might win tonight. And I'm like, yo, me too. So I clicked like on the status or whatever. Then he ended up mentioning me in a comment asking which defense he should start, San Diego, Denver. But Brandon, my bad. I worked 12 hours on Thursday, man. And then we had company, we had clients there. And then I ended up getting an honor. I got an award there. Shout outs to me. But no, anyway, I just was really, really busy. So I meant to get back with you. But I definitely hope that you picked San Diego in hindsight. But it was just crazy. He and I were thinking the same thing. Like, San Diego really might win this game. And in doing so, of course, they did. It was just so many factors that I thought about it to think that there is the possibility that this could go in their favor. Both of the teams were coming off of a loss on Sunday. Of course, I think that Denver's was a little bit more drastic because they were undefeated and they lost at home and they were Super Bowl champs, and this is an Atlanta team that they definitely could have beat, especially just due to the fact that Atlanta's secondary gives up 21 points per game. And I know that at the time they didn't have Simeon as the quarterback at that game, but still, that was a great time for you to just kind of get you a highlights reel started. When you got Emmanuel Sanders as a receiver, as speedy as he is, and you got Thomas, I just really expected more. But then the way that San Diego lost and the way that they lost on the road, all the dramatics with the kick at the end, and then, of course, Lambeau laughing, and we spoke about that. And I know San Diego got frustrated last night because they were selling for a lot of field goals. But I know Lambeau was happy because he was able to kind of make up for the laugh attack that he had, the little tickle me Elmo phase that he went through on Sunday. So he had an opportunity to make up for it. So I know he's very grateful that he got a chance to kick all those field goals and he made them. But again, being a big Ken Wisenhunt fan, then Gary Kubiak also not playing, the more that stuff just started to come into play. And then I remember, because we've done these podcasts very consistently, if in case you haven't noticed, we are consistent, honey. But Thursday night, the opening week 1, the Thursday right after Labor Day, Denver kicked off the season. Of course, it was a Super Bowl rematch between the Broncos and the Panthers in Denver. And it was Trevor Siemian's first start of that season. And I remember you being focused on how the commentators were just salivating. Trevor Siemian, this, he did that. And he really didn't do anything except for he happened to be the starting quarterback of the team that won. Well, when it comes to them trying to duplicate everything that they said about him week 1, there was no way they could say it last night. And I'm talking about, if you were trying to hear things about Trevor Siemian being great last night, you would have had a better chance of hearing a fly pee on some cotton. Like, honestly. And I'm thinking, like, Guru's been saying this, but he tried to tell y'all week 1 that the dude wasn't all that. And then you got to see it last night. They were pathetic on third down conversions. And then the longest play for them was 17 yards before the end of the game, of course. The longest play, listen to this. Look, tune into this. Is this thing on? The longest play that the Broncos had last night on offense was 17 yards. And that first time that happened, that longest play, it came in the fourth quarter. And you mean to tell me, like, really this is supposed to be the Super Bowl champions playing? Did Gary Kubiak really make that much of a difference? Him not being there, did that really make that much of a difference? Now, special teams, obviously, there was some great things about special teams last night, but the special teams coach was the coach last night. I mean, exactly. He's the one that they got the onside kick and things like that. So that part wasn't really a struggle there. But again, the offense was very stagnant. 17 yards, the longest drive. Just to reiterate, 17 yards, longest play for them. That didn't happen until the fourth quarter. Thomas had some key drops. Sanders, I mean, where were you? Y'all don't even have to wash his uniform. Seriously. Of course, DeMarcus Ware didn't play. Now, I will say Brandon Marshall was very effective. And I'm talking about Brandon Marshall, linebacker, not Brandon Marshall, the Jets receiver. And I'm sure, like I was about to say the other Brandon Marshall, but I'm sure Brandon Marshall of the Broncos feels like that's the other Brandon Marshall. The one from the Jets is the other Brandon Marshall. What you mean? So I won't say that. But yeah, the linebacker Brandon Marshall looked very effective last night. Gosh, it makes me think about USC, how because we're in North Carolina, University of South Carolina feels like University of Southern Cal. That's the other USC. Like, we're the real one, and vice versa. But anyway, but I was really impressed with Brandon Marshall last night. And I just, the Broncos look very discombobulated. They've lost 2 games in 4 days. Like, that's not a good look with you being the Super Bowl champions. And what you did, you opened up that division. Jamal Charles, of course, is about to come back, and we know what he's capable of. The Raiders are looking good. They're 4-1, and they've got some key road wins. And then San Diego just beat you. And here you are with 2 losses in 4 days. I'm definitely not saying this is a panic for the Denver Broncos, but they have made things a lot more interesting, and they don't really have a stranglehold on not just the AFC West, but the AFC as a whole. Because, see, me being a Steelers fan, I'm starting to look at this stuff as, hey, might get home field. Y'all already got 2 losses. We only got 1. So if the playoffs started today, I'm starting to look at that stuff. So I'm eyeballing Denver a little bit differently for my Steelers. And again, not just the AFC West, but we'll definitely see how the rest of this goes. But congratulations to the Chargers. Very happy for Phillip Rivers. Very happy for my boy Ken Wisenhunt as well. And this is one of those things where even though I picked Denver, like I said, my mind started changing throughout the day. But boy, Brandon and I, we were kind of on the same page. And because I like the Chargers, this is one that I'm not even mad that I was wrong about with my choice. So congratulations to them again.
Shout out to the Chargers. We appreciate that for coming from an Oakland Raiders fan. Y'all went on there and did the thing. Phillip Rivers, this was one of the rare moments that I was actually rooting for the guy. I can't stand him on a normal basis, but, he did his thing last night. Definitely wasn't a surprise to me because I know that, Phillip Rivers has that type of bravado no matter who he plays against, and they beat Denver last season. That's something that, goes overlooked. I don't think that he came into this game scared one bit. I think he came into this game feeling like we can beat them because, that's the type of player he is. Now, some of the glaring things that stood out, just like you said, Denver's offense was pathetic. That offensive line was 10 penalties and, Siemian, as, like you said, I had previously been stating, just wasn't really worth much, in this game. His value was pretty low, I would say. I would say that even the starting running back, C.J. Anderson, he made some plays where you were like, this dude needs to go to the bench. Because when they put the rookie in, Devontae Booker, and this is me, the fantasy player, talking. Where I have Devontae Booker on a couple of my benches, so I definitely think that it's time to give this man the ball because he was making some plays. Denver made a lot of mistakes last night. So to me, I'm not sure Kubiak means that much to this team, to where, they're just that much better. And they've been having some issues with the running game all season, to tell you the truth. Like, for a Kubiak-led offense, you expect for them to have a 100-yard rusher every game. And they haven't been having that. So I would say that, expect some changes probably very soon with the Denver Broncos offense. The offensive line, too, they need some work, too. This team is far from a contender. Everybody's got them packaged, sealed, and stamped as a contender, and this team is not a contender. If you watched that game last night, that looked nothing like a contender. That looked like a team who's just elite defense, because the defense did their job. They allowed field goals, the rest of the game outside of that first drive. And a stat that was presented last night was that the Denver Broncos, every game, has given up a touchdown the first drive.
Sheesh.
The defense, I would still say they did their job, even though they gave up the touchdown and then a bunch of field goals, And this still was against Phillip Rivers. He does drive the ball against everybody. There hasn't been too many teams, really, in his career who shut him down. This really isn't that embarrassing of a feat that you allowed a bunch of field goals against Phillip Rivers.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure Kubiak sitting at home, I saw the tweet from his son saying that, watching Thursday Night Football with my dad on a normal day is amazing. Watching Thursday Night Football when it's the Broncos, treacherous.
Was he a Chargers fan or something? What do you mean?
No, so you got to think that Kubiak's sitting at home with the flu.
Right.
So him and his son were sitting there watching his team that he coaches.
He's meaning, okay.
Yeah. See, like, they normally, I guess him and his son normally watch Thursday Night Football every now and then. If they're not playing, they watch Thursday Night Football and just kind of enjoy it.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying. But see, they've had a Thursday night game before, too. But I guess it's also different, too, because he's probably watched the game with his dad. Like, he's probably been at the game, even if not on the sidelines. But I'm with you now. Yeah, they're watching it on the Tizoob, just like you and I were.
Right.
So
but they're watching his team.
That, too.
That's the
that part I get. But like I said, he's watched his team on a Thursday night before. But,
the
like...
Broncos? He watched the
Yeah, because the Broncos opened up.
But he was coaching.
The dad was. I'm saying, you said the son tweeted this. So I'm saying it was...
The son's tweeting that the dad's attitude was, like, crazy. Like, he was sitting there watching the game with him.
Okay, so he was kind of speaking from his dad's perspective, not his. I'm with you now.
Right.
Okay.
He was sitting there watching the team his dad coaches, and his dad is supposed to be coaching this game, but he's sitting there watching his team struggle. So I guess it's kind of like, you can only imagine what the kind of words that were coming out of Gary Kubiak's mouth sitting there watching this game.
True.
And I'm sure that the meeting and whatever else that goes on, because they got a few days off now, so I'm sure that Kubiak's gonna have some words for that offense, especially those offensive line men. Anyway, so yeah, it was a real interesting game, but no surprises. The San Diego Chargers, we appreciate you, bruh.
Like, send them a gift basket or something, some muffins or some little complimentary muffins, something like that for that. I wanted to ask you as well, in speaking of last night's game, what did you think about those color rush uniforms from both teams?
As much as I don't like the Chargers, I actually think they got nice unis. But, Denver's, I didn't like too much. I can't co-sign that orange. But, I thought the Chargers looked okay. The color rush, yeah, that was actually a pretty cool thing. I'm kind of waiting to see, if Oakland has anything. Hopefully, we do something with that silver. I know we have a silver uniform. Hopefully we do something with that silver. I think that'll be kind of cool to see that. But I'm kind of on edge this week because I know that things are just playing out too well for my Oakland Raiders this season. The Denver Broncos just went out there and got decimated this week, and lost 2 straight games. So now all of a sudden, the first place in the division was just gift wrapped and, shipped to the Oakland Raiders. Now all we have to do is go out there and win this game against the Kansas City Chiefs, a team who we have not beaten over a season ago. So that's the feat.
Right, and then they're getting Jamal Charles back, which has probably been some of the healthiest Jamal Charles we've seen in quite some time. And he's been dangerous against you guys as well, so I can understand the apprehension. But at the same time, things are a lot different. This is me playing positive Patty here, if you will, because I know you're concerned, and very much so you should be. But Kansas City has also gone through some changes. When they beat y'all last year, they also had Doug Peterson. They don't have Doug Peterson this year, so maybe that might play to an advantage for you guys as well. But again, I'm just trying to be a positive Patty here. Going back to also a couple of quick notes to some of the things that you were saying. We talked about the color rush uniforms. When you're talking about Gary Kubiak, I actually think that he might be a big factor in this, because the games that he's been healthy, they're undefeated. Last week, his health started getting a little down on the sidelines. The flu-like symptoms, which he has had before, started to trickle in. Rushed to the hospital. They lost. No Gary Kubiak this time. They lost again last night. Again, when you were saying they'll get extra days because of the fact they play Thursday night and then they play next week. And looking at their schedule, they also get an extra day because they play on Monday night next week. And get this, and wait, there's more. Guess who they play? The Houston Texans, a team that Kubiak used to coach for. And we can't make this stuff up. My goodness, we can't make this stuff up. So, yeah, interestingly enough, also going back to Phillip Rivers, it was a big night for him. What Phillip Rivers did, the Chargers, of course, avoided a fourth quarter collapse, which they've been very successful in doing all season, surrendering a fourth quarter lead, and they've relinquished it, and that's how they've lost a lot of their games this season. But they were able to maintain. They went into the fourth quarter last night with the win. They maintained and, of course, got the victory. But Phillip Rivers, even though last night was not a huge night for him statistically, as we know that what he's capable of, it was enough to put him in the record books as he continued to smash his way through the San Diego Chargers record book. Last night, he actually surpassed the great Dan Fouts to become the franchise's all-time passing yards leader. So congratulations to you, Mr. Rivers. That's great for you with the Chargers, but I'm always going to hold on. It's near and dear to my heart that you went to NC State, so I'm looking at you as the Wolfpack brethren here. So congratulations to you, former Wolfpack alum, on your new record that you achieved last night. That, of course, kicked off week 6. Gosh, these weeks are really, really rolling. Again, the Chargers with the 21-13 defeat over the reigning Super Bowl champions, a huge AFC West divisional game last night. And on the previous episode, we did speak about the 1 o'clock games. We gave our thoughts on who we thought would win. Of course, the Guru picked the Chargers, who won, and I was incorrect in my guess with the Broncos, but I'm not mad. I like the Chargers. I just thought that Denver would rebound from that loss to Atlanta at home, but they didn't. But nonetheless, a few more days, extra days, both of them due to prepare. In Denver with the extra game as they play Monday night at home, next Monday night, the 24th, hosting the Houston Texans. But back to week 6, again, we talked about the 1 o'clock games. We gave you our picks on that. And as you, Guru, alluded to, your Oakland Raiders host the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that you're very familiar with, obviously them being in your division, but a team that has kind of given you the blues the past couple of times as you play them. But again, here we are, week 6. This is who you get. Probably a heavy dose of Jamal Charles. But you guys are riding high, beating San Diego last week. You went to the East Coast. You traveled to the East Coast, beat Baltimore. Probably even was part of the reason why their offensive coordinator got fired, courtesy of you as well. So you're coming into this game apprehensive, understandably so, but you do believe in your team. New team, new demeanor, new swag, if you will, if I can go back to 2007 for just a moment. New swag from you guys. You're going to pull this victory out on Sunday, aren't you, at 4:05?
Absolutely, I believe in my team. I think that we're going to win this game this week. However, my apprehension is only due to the fact that I know Kansas City's defense is elite. I know that they're going to cause us some problems. But we also have an elite offense this year. You know, the offensive line is significantly better with the addition of Osemele. Yosemele taking up all the space in the line. So yeah, that's gonna be the new nickname for Mr. Osemele, Yosemele. I think we're gonna manhandle these boys this week. Stacey McGee, man, shout out to Stacey McGee, by the way. He's been stepping up, playing on the inside without Mario Edwards and without Alden Smith, and we still waiting on them two boys to come back too. So when you add them two back to the front line, to go with Mr. Khalil Mack, the Mack attack, I think the Oakland Raiders, we're gonna have a
Mack Daddy make you jump.
I think that our defense is gonna go from a team that doesn't really dominate the front every time to a team that's gonna be dominating the front. people are talking about the Raiders defense is such a concern and everything, not understanding that we have that much talent on the men.
Right. Y'all got some stuff on pause.
Exactly. So, we got some stuff on pause. As of right now, Stacey McGee is balling. I like some of the other players that we have. Corey James, Perry Riley. Shout out to former Redskin Perry Riley.
Yeah.
The Oakland Raiders, I expect for us to go out there and pull this game out. Whoa, I forgot to shout out my man, Mr. Showtime, Michael Crabtree. I know you're going to be guarded by Marcus Peters this week, though, so, you probably ain't going to get the ball coming your way too much, but Amari, you know what that means. That means, it's time for you to go ahead and step up and shine on them, because they don't have Sean Smith to guard you over there, so it's time for you to step out there and show off this week. Amari Cooper's going to ball out. Get him in your fantasy lineup.
You mentioned Sean Smith, so meaning Sean Smith's no longer with the Chiefs to cover Cooper. Where is Sean Smith now that you bring him up?
Sean Smith is playing for the Oakland Raiders as the starting corner.
Interesting. So that's another advantage for you guys as well. And the fact that you also bring up a similar, I find it so ironic, but I'm tickled by it. With him playing as well as he did, and as I had mentioned that you guys beat Baltimore by traveling to the East Coast and doing so a couple weeks ago, y'all got him from Baltimore. You had a scout. Like, you had your own personal scout already as well with that advantage. So that might have also been why you won. But, yeah, kudos to the Raiders. The winning spree that they're on. Of course, the only loss, again, is to the Falcons, as many teams have done so in losing to the Falcons. They only have one loss as well. So that's nothing to be ashamed of. Hopefully, you'll continue with your win tally by beating the Chiefs as well. And I do think, so I'm going to agree with you on that. My reasons are a little bit different in thinking that you guys will win. Of course, you don't have your full arsenal on your defense, but you do have pieces on offense. I really like the way Carr is playing this year. I really do. I don't want to necessarily use the word elite, not yet, only because he just doesn't have enough of a resume. So I don't want to just use that word carelessly. It's a great word for him if he keeps that consistent, but I just don't think it's enough time for him yet. Of course, he's coming off of a Pro Bowl season last year. He was only about 20 yards short of throwing for 4K, so he was on his way. And I really feel like now he's taking another step in the development of being the elite quarterback that I think he's capable of. I mean, there's even talks of the guy being in MVP contention. Of course, Matt Ryan is looking just as good, too, so we don't want to bypass him. But Carr is definitely a potential candidate as well. I think that Carr will be the outlying factor. I think he's going to play really, really smart ball, even though he is going against that stingy defense with Tamba Ali, with Johnson, with Peters.
Justin Houston won't be there. That's good news.
That's a bonus, right. So, but I think Carr will be just fine. Plus, you're the landlords of the black hole. It is a home game for you guys out there in Oakland. And again, as I mentioned earlier, even though Kansas City still has a lot of their personnel on the field on offense, losing an offensive coordinator, a lot of people, and I know that it was probably more to do with Andy Reid because of Andy Reid's him being such an offensive genius. But still, when you're a quarterback like Alex Smith, who's not really Hall of Fame bound, not really want to put up spectacular numbers, you need consistency. To me, Alex Smith really hasn't grown that much from the San Francisco days. He's still practically doing the same thing, a lot of underneath, a lot of short stuff. Alex Smith has never really been one to stretch the field. And that's why I think Jeremy Maclin has been so handcuffed. Not because he's not, I know Jeremy Maclin has had injuries and stuff like that, but I think it has a lot more to do with Alex Smith as opposed to his injuries. He did just fine with Nick Foles. Andy Reid was there, so that's definitely not the difference. It's the quarterback, and let's just keep it real. Because Alex Smith is one that is more of he has a little bit of a clothespin factor to him, a little bit of a grasp on him. So to me, he will never be an elite quarterback. Right. So I'm giving, again, the advantage to Carr on this one at the quarterback position. I'm giving the advantage to the Raiders' offense going against that defense. I think that your defense has the advantage going against that offense because of who the quarterback is. Now, I'm not taking away anything from Andy Reid. I'm definitely not taking anything away from Jamal Charles because I think he will excel as well. But I really think that you guys will be able to have some success against Alex Smith. He's a very predictable quarterback. And this is going back to his San Francisco games. Mm-hmm. That's why his completion rate is so high. Hello, newsflash, breaking news. Alex Smith has had such a high completion rate because he has not stretched the ball down the field. He's done a lot of underneath, a lot of check downs, a lot of short stuff. So it's easier to complete those passes. So until you get your quarterback to expand and open up the playbook a little bit more, the simplistic offense that they run, you guys will be able to challenge him a lot more. because it is such a predictable offense that they run. And I actually think that Andy Reid is getting shortchanged by having Alex Smith as the quarterback. Right. Andy Reid has played with the likes of Donovan McNabb, who went to 4 consecutive NFC Championship games. Right. Nick Foles, of course, we know how he would air the ball out.
Foles is the backup.
Foles is the backup, but Alex Smith is doing enough not to cost him his job because he doesn't make mistakes. Right. But again, it's easy for him not to make those mistakes. He's not taking chances. Being very safe, very conservative. So again, that is another reason why I give you guys the advantage. I think you'll be fine. You know, we're going to see the Jamal Charles that we've known, that you really can't stop him. Injuries is like the only thing that can stop him. Honestly, he's such an immense talent. But I do think that you guys will be fine again at home. You'll be victorious in this divisional matchup. Only a couple of more 4 o'clock games on the slate. That one, of course, you guys are kicking off at 4:05. But at 4:25, we have the Dallas Cowboys, who are on a 4-game winning streak. And they're traveling to Green Bay. And, of course, Green Bay just came out of the bye. And they won their first game out of the bye last week, and they defeated the Giants. That's what it was. They defeated the Giants in primetime last Sunday night. This is an interesting game. Both of these teams are picked to possibly win the division, or if not, be like wild cards. So who knows? Maybe these might be the 5 and 6 seeds in the wild card for the NFC, or they could be division leaders. So this may actually be a prelude to what we may see early next year as well, round 1 possibly. Again, the game is at Lambeau. And we got Dak Prescott going on the road with this 4-game winning streak with the Cowboys. Who do you like in this game, Guru, and why?
When you think about the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys, it's like a classic Turkey Day game. You know, back in the day when Brett Favre played for the Packers and, you know, Troy Aikman and them boys was playing for the Cowboys. Like, it seemed like every Thanksgiving it was the Cowboys and the Packers. You know, this is a rare instance, you know, because I'm a Raiders fan, you know, and I guess the Raiders do have some ties to the Cowboys and Jerry Jones. However, I'm not a Cowboys fan even in the slightest bit. This is one of the rare moments that I'm rooting for the Dallas Cowboys because I just feel like the quarterback's not getting a fair shake, you know, based on his performance. People saying that if he wins this game, you don't take him out. I do kind of feel like that may be the case. Like, if he loses this game against Green Bay, then that's going to be their argument. Like, hey, you know, he lost against Green Bay. He couldn't handle the big time. We're going to go back to Tony Romo. So I am rooting for the Dallas Cowboys. However, I do think Green Bay wins this game at Lambeau. You know, and Green Bay, you know, they've come out of the bye. They're playing better football. Aaron Rodgers is a whole nother monster to try to stop. The Cowboys, you know, DeMarcus Lawrence and those guys that they have, I'm not sure that they can get to Aaron Rodgers and stop him. And I'm not even sure that the Cowboys have the players in the secondary to defend Jordy Nelson or Randall Cobb. Right. So I think Green Bay wins this game. But, you know, I am rooting for the Cowboys to win this game.
Understood. Yeah, you bring up a fair point. I was over here just like, I was all consoling, like, oh, that is a good point. They probably will feel like that. I'm a little bit concerned for Dak this week because it's on the road. This is a big road game. Now, he's won road games before, don't get me wrong. But the fact that you are playing in Green Bay, and this has nothing to even do, like, it's not cold. It's not cold Lambeau, and it's not the old frigid frozen tundra Lambeau that we once had. I mean, they have heaters under there now and stuff like that. But it is a mid-October game, too, so that's not really going to play that much of a factor. But the reason why I am concerned for Dak going to Green Bay is because Green Bay did just come out of that bye. They won against the Giants, and I don't think that they have plans on looking back because they're in the division with the undefeated Minnesota Vikings. And in order for them to compete with them and stand a chance with them, every game is a must-win for them, honestly, because if Minnesota wins that division, there's a chance that Green Bay still may not be a wild card because the NFC is very competitive this season. Look at Atlanta. I mean, who knew that Atlanta was going to... Where did Atlanta get this pass rush from? Ta-da! Look at Dallas. Dallas was 4-12 last year. They could bump them out. Who can go up there to the Vikings field and win? The NFC West is still very muddled. I mean, it could be the Rams out of that. So it's not over by any given means. So Green Bay has a tall order because the only way they can really secure themselves and get into the playoffs, again with the NFC being so competitive, is to win the division, and that probably won't happen with the way Minnesota's looking. Of course, they're on the bye this week, so Green Bay has an opportunity to kind of close in a little bit since they also had their bye. So now they'll both have 5 games under their belt by the end of week 6. I'm also a little bit concerned for Dak because you're going against a Dom Capers defense. He knows that you're a rookie, and he knows how impressive that you have been. He knows that you went 100 passes without a turnover. He saw what you did against Cincinnati last week and how smart that you were, how your offense put up 28 points against the stingy Cincinnati team. He's very aware of that. And so as a result, I think he's going to come with every single dial up and kitchen sink that he can throw at you until you succumb to it. With Julius Peppers, with Clay Matthews, Jake Ryan, I just really trust Green Bay's defense a little more, and plus the fact that they're playing at home, I just trust them a little bit more in this, on that part. Now, also, Green Bay's offense versus Dallas's defense, which is a bunch of stuff that you've already alluded to. I think Randall Cobb, building off of what he did last Sunday, I think he's going to continue with that. I think that was just a sneak peek. Of course, Jordy Nelson, knock on wood, we are going into the 6th week of the season, and he's still healthy. At this point in time, I think somebody needs to pop some champagne bottles. So he's out there. That's a threat. And then you have A-Rod, and I'm not talking about Alex Rodriguez. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers, State Farm, championship belt, cheesehead, that Aaron Rodgers. Right. Super Bowl winning Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl MVP Aaron Rodgers. He's still out there, and he's still a threat. And what makes him dangerous is he can do things from the pocket, but he can also elude. He's very elusive. He buys time, and he's a scrambler. He can run those bootleg plays, and I think he's going to confuse Dallas and scramble them. And again, like you said, Dallas just really doesn't have the personnel to handle that. On both sides of the ball, I give an advantage to Green Bay. Like you said, I don't like the Cowboys. I despise the Cowboys, but I'm very impressed with Dak so far, and I don't want him to lose that job. All that stuff that Jerry Jones is saying is profanity to me. Like, you are cussing saying that Tony Romo is coming back. You've got to be kidding me. But I tell you what, if you start Tony Romo, as we've talked about in previous podcasts, all that stuff that I just said in the segue for this game, like possibly seeing this as a wild card game or a divisional playoff game, you can cancel Christmas on that because you won't be there. Speaking of Christmas, around Christmas you'll be winding up your season around Christmas time if you bring Tony Romo back in this. Dak Prescott is your answer, and like you said, I really hope that maybe he might play well. Dallas could still lose. I'm rooting for Dak personally. Again, going against Dom Capers, I think that's a tough task for the rookie. I'm not ruling him out, though. I'm not counting him out. I'm not giving up on you. But this is just a game of a bigger scale, and it'll be a close one. But I do think that Green Bay will defeat the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so the last game on the 425 docket, another interesting game, and I'm actually looking forward to this game. Typically, I wouldn't be, but because Atlanta is flying high right now, and I mean that literally, flying high with them being the Falcons, and then they're flying into another poultry territory, if you will, the Seahawks. So it's like this is bird gang all the way up and through, honey. Talk about poultry. But yeah, so the Falcons and Seattle is coming off of a bye. Russell Wilson has had a little bit more time to heal that ankle. He's been hobbling in a lot of those games. Seattle hasn't really been that threatening on offense as a result, consequently. But again, the bye week was a very opportune time for them to have that with some of the key injuries and things of that nature. They've been nursing injuries with running backs too. With Matt Ryan and company, of course, they've reeled off a couple of huge wins. The Carolina one, obviously, the record-setting Carolina game a couple of weeks ago, and then beating the defending Super Bowl champions in Denver last week. Very impressive. Now they take on the Seattle Seahawks, another team that people are looking at to be a favorite out of the NFC. This could also be another prelude of what we might see in the playoffs down the road. Of course, with Atlanta looking the way they're looking, Seattle might have to come to Atlanta in the future. But nonetheless, week 6, the Falcons are traveling to the Seahawks. Guru, who wins this game and why?
I like the Seattle Seahawks to pull this game out and to humble the Atlanta Falcons this week. I think that Matt Ryan's going to get humbled this week. And my recommendation to you Seattle Seahawks fans that are coming to that field this week, bring big bowls of rice. You know, bring all the rice you can bring, you know what I'm saying, and go ahead and just stone them up out of there. Rain on them, because if it may not be raining this week, but just bring rice, you know, just in case. That way you can take care of them boys up there. Matt Ryan, you know, he's done some great things and everything. And as a Raiders fan, I am a little bitter, you know, that he beat my team. The Raiders' one blemish, it happens to be against him. So get that man a biscuit. I think that he's going to get humbled this week.
No, I was just saying, I'd love to have lost to the Atlanta Falcons as opposed to losing 34-3 to the Eagles, but okay.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I just, you know, watching that game, you know, the Raiders had control of it. That's the reason why it's a loss that feels bad, you know, because at the end of the game, we were in a position to win the game, and they ended up going up the field and scoring. Obviously, they fed the Raiders some humble pie. I think I'm gonna sit back in my comfort chair this week, and I'm gonna enjoy watching the Falcons get their humble pie this week, because I know the Seattle Seahawks are gonna come out there and hit them in the mouth. Shout out to Richard Sherman this week.
Ow, no doubt. I see what you did there, but now that you bring that up, that how y'all lost, because that's been my thing. I've had this discussion with people before. Like, I'd rather be blown out than to have a close loss like that. And especially, like the Chargers having those fourth quarter leads and relinquishing them. I don't want to lose like that. I appreciate the fact that we lost. Well, we didn't even have a chance. I was able to watch other games and enjoy a meal by halftime, and I ain't have to go back to our game. But we've been playing madly, been playing very angrily ever since. So I appreciate our dose of humble pie. And obviously, since you guys have lost to Atlanta, you built a little bit of a winning streak as well. So maybe it is a part of the due process, the humbling phase, and then you come back out with a vengeance. So I see what you're saying there, and I totally agree with you. I'm also going to agree with you on the pick of the Seattle Seahawks winning this game at home. They're due. They just are. We haven't seen an outbreak of the Seattle Seahawks that we know, and I'm talking about on both sides of the ball. But I think this week they'll be able to complete that. I think that the offense gets back on track. Because the fact that you're playing Atlanta, in order for you to win this game, this could be a shootout. You're going to have to put up points against Atlanta. There's really no way around that. Atlanta's been putting up 20 and 30 points and stuff. And because they're coming in, clicking on cylinders like that on offense, and it's been run and pass, excellent quarterback play as well, you're going to have to respond. You're going to have to answer to that. So Seattle, in order for Seattle to win this game, they're going to honestly have to probably put up about 28 points. I don't think this will be that much of a defensive struggle for Atlanta, because I don't think that Seattle will completely take them out of their element as far as that, because it's not the same Legion of Boom I wanted it to be. I think they cool Atlanta off, but I don't think Atlanta only going to score 7 and 10. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to revert to that. I'm thinking maybe like 21, which is still a cool down, because Atlanta's done the 28, they've done the 30 and stuff like that. But even me thinking Atlanta's going to put up 21, I'm thinking Seattle's going to give me 28. Reason being, they have had the additional time to prepare for this game. It is at home. Atlanta's secondary to opposing wide receivers, they give up 21 points. Toasty! So Seattle, all you really have to do is just throw the ball to Doug Baldwin. Toasty! Even though this is week 6, again, because Seattle had their bye week, they've only played 4 games. So in following that trend, and again, playing against an Atlanta secondary, not their defense, the secondary alone gives up 21 points to opposing receivers. You have to attack that. Seattle's probably going to put up 28 this week if you do what I said. If you follow my instructions, then don't get cute and conservative and just want to take advantage of what's there. Yep. 21 points against opposing wide receivers. That's the weakness. Pray on that. And I'm talking about not pray go to the Lord in prayer. You can do that too. But I'm saying pray PREY on that. It's the battle of the birds here. And I think that Seattle will reign supreme, and they'll be the team with the biggest cock. No, I'm just kidding. I think they'll be the team that'll be victorious in this. Again, if you do what I say and just take advantage of their pass defense, you should be just fine. And again, they're playing with the healthier Russell Wilson in this one, and I feel like maybe he should be able to 1-2 step over that pass defense. See what I did there? Shout out to Sierra. But anyway, all right, so that concludes the 4:05 and the 4:25 games on the slate for Sunday for week 6. Now moving on to the Sunday night game, the primetime game. It is a divisional matchup. The Indianapolis Colts, who just lost another one in my Biggie voice for the younger crowd, in my DJ Khaled voice. So yeah, the Indianapolis Colts just lost another one last week to the Chicago Bears. Now they face a Houston Texans team who, even though they're 3-2 and lead the division, this is still a division that's wide open. No clear-cut favorite in the division at this time. So don't let that 3-2 record fool you. One of your great terms is that's a fool's gold record. So Indy could actually have a chance here to kind of make some moves, shake up the division a little bit if they win this game and travel into Houston. We haven't seen the blockbuster Osweiler, that got that big contract. Where he at? Right. You playing this season or not? You gonna have to start returning checks, giving back some money to the organization or what? Because we ain't seen that money. We ain't seen that guy yet that's got all that money. You could have stayed in Denver for that. You know what I'm saying? But also the Andrew Luck. Andrew Unlucky. As a matter of fact, you signed a big contract this season as well, and we have not seen the Andrew Luck that's worthy of that contract. So here we go. This is the quarterback blunder bowl here. Very subpar quarterbacks in this divisional matchup facing each other. But which quarterback will do just enough to get this win in the AFC South? Who you got in this one, Guru?
I think that the Indianapolis Colts find a way to pull this game out. They've been struggling, in terms of, or maybe not struggling offensively, but they've been struggling to get wins. And, I'm not sure if they lost 2 straight or whether it's 3 straight. But they've lost, they're on a streak of losses at this point. So I expect for Andrew Luck and gang, to come out here hungry and find a way to pull this game out, against a team who has a very overrated 1-2 punch in Brock Osweiler and Lamar Miller. And every show that I get an opportunity to say something about those 2 scrubs, I'm going to definitely mention it.
I don't want no scrubs. Sorry. Oh, flashback. Thanks for bringing up scrubs there. But, yeah, speaking of scrubs, I think that the Houston Texans will actually scrub the field with the Colts this week. I really do. I think that the Lamar Miller that we've been waiting to show up, this is like the most favorable matchup here. The Colts, of course, have Swiss cheese defense. Look at what Jordan Howard did last week, and that was a rookie. The 49ers and the Colts have the bottom 2 rush defenses. They're allowing over 150 rushing yards per game. Close to 150 yards per game in rushing. Mind you, with this happening, these teams aren't getting these rushing yards for ball control like towards the end of the game, like just to try to kill the clock. Now they're doing this first quarter, second quarter, just part of their offensive play calling. Oh, we're gonna run the ball, and that's what they do. And I think Lamar Miller again will be able to show up on this one. Brock Osweiler probably won't have to do as much, but just hand the ball off to him. So I still think this will not be a huge week for Osweiler. But I do think that we do see the Will Fuller return as well, because not only is Indy's rush defense a struggle, their pass defense really ain't all that. They're just lost in the sauce at this point in time with their defense. Maybe y'all should call Bob Sanders back or something. I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of flaws on Indy's defense, and I think that Houston will be able to take advantage of some of that. Despite the fact that they no longer have J.J. Watt, of course, with the season-ending back surgery, and they went to Minnesota last week, lost that game, and Minnesota kind of rattled them a little bit on defense. They've still done pretty well with those factors. Houston actually went into that game last week with the number 1 pass defense, with that tandem of cornerbacks that they have. And look at what they did to Rudolph last week. I mean, he had 2 catches for 15 yards and no touchdowns. And we know the chemistry that he has with Sam Bradford. And plus, like, Diggs didn't play. And you would have thought that maybe, okay, more targets for him. But he had 2 catches. So let that marinate against a pretty good Vikings team on offense. We know what they've done on defense, but the Vikings team isn't terrible on offense either. So that was pretty good for Houston. Houston's familiar with Andrew Luck. Houston knows what Andrew Luck is going to do. He's going to throw the ball 45 times. They have absolutely no running game. And you can make him one-dimensional. Andrew Luck throwing the ball 45 times, they're not usually playing from behind, like not deep from behind. It's usually a close game, and he's still airing the ball back because he doesn't trust the running game. So he's one-dimensional already, and Houston's the fact that they have a good pass defense too, so they're probably going to take advantage of that. And again, I just really think that Houston will be fine to win this game. They usually play better at home also. They've had some key wins at home, and this being another home game for them. And I hate this for Indy because I'm such a huge Chuck Pagano fan. The Andrew Luck thing, not so much, because like I've said this time and time again, I do not understand how this guy got a contract extension when he did not even have perfect attendance last season. Like, you got to show up for class. You got to show up for work. If you don't, you get fired. But y'all, since someone gave him a raise, you've got to be kidding me. But I wasn't a fan of that. But I love me some Chuck Pagano. I hope Indy wins because I love Chuck Pagano, and I know the talks of possibly terminating him are going to come up again, even though he got a contract extension too. But I think Houston will be fine on this game, and they will prevail. All right, so moving on to the Monday night primetime game. The New York Jets, the 1-4 New York Jets, and a team that I really had way higher expectations for this season. They travel out to the Arizona Cardinals. That's a tough place to play anyway off the gate, and then We just saw Arizona dismantle the 49ers, even though it was 10 days ago, but advantage there for Arizona because they've had some additional time to prepare for a Jets team who got blown away by the Steelers last week as well. But you're giving the Jets a chance to pull off this upset, right? What do the Jets need to do to possibly win this game? How can they win this game? Because on paper, most likely the Cardinals are definitely going to win. But what can our picks are probably going to be Arizona for this. But what is it that you might see that the Jets can do to spoil the home team Arizona Cardinals that are hosting them?
I will say that one thing that bodes well for the New York Jets is that Carson Palmer is looking like he's going to be playing. And Carson Palmer is very turnover prone. So, this could be a game that Darrelle Revis can catch him slipping, considering that his reputation this season is tarnished because people are throwing deep on Darrelle Revis like he ain't even there. No respect for the man. Carson Palmer's probably going to think he can come out here and take a shot. Darrelle Revis more than likely will intercept a couple passes from Carson Palmer, with him disrespecting him that way. But, because Larry Fitzgerald's not a speed receiver. He's a dominant, size receiver, that you can throw jump balls to. And, he makes plays because he's usually bigger and he can jump higher than most of the corners. But Darrelle Revis, that doesn't really matter against. So I think that, that'll be a real interesting matchup. Larry Fitzgerald versus Darrelle Revis to watch. I think that Brandon Marshall versus Patrick Peterson will be another interesting matchup to watch. But Patrick Peterson does give up big plays here and there. So I think that Brandon Marshall will end up making some plays and have a game that looks like he kind of got off. I think that the New York Jets do have a chance to win this game, considering that their defensive front to me is playing a little bit better football than the Cardinals.
Right.
Their offensive line is a little bit nastier probably too. Mind you, the Arizona Cardinals do have Calais Campbell. There's a system that Bruce Arians seems to be deploying this season where he's got all these nickel backs all over the field, and he's playing a lot of nickel defense. To me, I think that bodes well for the Jets who want to run the football with Matt Forte. I just think it's going to be a very interesting matchup, and I like the players that the Cardinals have, even though, to me, I'm not sure nickel defenses are the most successful route to go against a team who wants to run the football, and that's the reason why they struggled against New England, by the way, because LeGarrette Blount, was just gashing them left and right because, you got all these DBs all over the place.
Right.
When you got big offensive linemen and big tight ends, these guys are going to be pancaking people all over the place because, you got all these DBs everywhere. He's trying to do something new. He's got the DBs playing linebacker, and the Honey Badgers are going to be moving to nickel corner, to slot corner. They're going to go with Swearinger in his position with Buchanan at linebacker and Jefferson at the other safety spot, and it's just like you got safeties everywhere. And I also think that Carson Palmer in these types of games where pressure gets to him, pressure busts pipes, baby. You know that. Leonard Williams and Muhammad Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson, these guys start, creating havoc on that front. I think Palmer will start making some mistakes, start throwing some interceptions. Yeah, I'm taking the New York Jets.
Wow, I did not see that one coming. I didn't expect that at all. And then the fact that you bring up how pressure bursts pipes. Pressure also creates diamonds, though. However, I don't think that diamond will be Carson Palmer either. But you know what's crazy? I was setting that up because I really thought that you were going to pick the Cardinals because I was going to pick the Jets. Honestly, that's why I said, we're both right with the Cardinals, right? Because I was going to go against it with the Jets. Of course, the Jets has been the team that I picked to win the division. And they're 1-4, very disappointing. But there's been some games that I felt like they could have definitely won. Another thing about with the information, of course, as you said, I love Bruce Arians. That was my offensive coordinator for the Steelers, and he helped us get a Super Bowl title. I mean, a guy that can rock a cane goal on the sideline effortlessly is all right with me. I do love me some Bruce Arians, but here's an outlier here. Ryan Fitzpatrick, of course, has thrown 6 touchdowns this season. The one against Pittsburgh last week. But he's thrown 10 interceptions. But he did not throw any interceptions against the Steelers last week. And I'm like, if you can keep that trend going. The Steelers had potent offense last week. Arizona does not have that potent of an offense. And there's no Eric Decker anymore for Ryan Fitzpatrick. You're getting $12 million from the offseason. And now that you don't have a key wide receiver, we really need to see what you're made of. And I think that he's actually going to stand up to this because Ryan Fitzpatrick has been in these types of situations before when he played at Buffalo, playing with the Jets in previous games as well. So I think that he will rebound and be fine. I do expect a big game from Brandon Marshall, and I think that they're going to get their tight ends more involved as well. As a matter of fact, they went and got Safarian Jenkins from Tampa. When Tampa cut him, he had like a DUI earlier this year, and Tampa just went ahead and cut him. I think Safarian Jenkins will become a big part of their offense. Another outlier in this is Ryan Fitzpatrick is from Gilbert, Arizona. So he's going to have some fans there. He's going to have some family. There's some home cooking, if you will. And so I think that is going to help him kind of be like, I grew up here. I'm from around here. That's the store that I got my first kiss. That kind of stuff. Like I used to play ball, up the street from here. I think that might help him going back there, even though this is a road game for him. There's some factors of being back home for him here, and I think that might help him. I think it might be something that he needed to kind of go back home. And again, he will have some fans in the audience. Usually when that happens, even though they're on the road, they get extra tickets for those games that they go back home for. They just do. So I think that's going to help him too. Again, I know that's something really weird and interesting and unexpected, but I think that will be a bonus as well, a little bit of a boost for him. And I think that he'll be just fine. I'm picking the Jets as well. It has a lot to do with their defense. Playing in Arizona is really not that scary. It's really not. I mean, that crowd is not that crunk. It's really not. Like, noise control and stuff. It's kind of a low-key crowd. Don't get me wrong, they're excited and they're fans and stuff, but Arizona, NFL wise, this is not like your Texas teams. It's not like your Cowboys type fan base or like your Steelers fan base and how they travel and stuff like that. So it's not that threatening of a place to play. Of course, it's always an advantage playing at home, don't get me wrong, but again, the fans aren't as brutal as like Oakland. My goodness, nobody wants to play in Oakland. Can you imagine kicking a field goal with a guy with some dang shoulder pad spikes hanging out and his face is painted the way it is and he's just making a face like, can you imagine? You don't have much of that in Arizona. You don't have to really worry about that. And so, again, it's kind of a home game for Fitzpatrick with him being from Gilbert, Arizona. So I think he'll be fine. Keep eliminating your turnovers and play stout defense. You got the personnel for it. Arizona, of course, the window is kind of closing on them, and their offense is not that potent as the Steelers team that you just played the week before. And I think that you guys will be fine and prevail. That is my upset pick of the week as well. The Jets traveling to the Cardinals, and they should be fine in winning that game. Interestingly enough, this is week 6 that we're speaking of. And of course, we all know that there's 17 weeks in the NFL season. The teams play 16 because they all have a bye. But either way it goes, on the calendar, this is week 6, 11 more weeks to go. Why do they got the Pro Bowl ballots and pick who you think should go to the Pro Bowl that does not happen until the last week of January? Why do they have this out already rolling out the carpet for this so soon? Again, some teams have only played 4 games because they've had bye weeks. And some teams have only played 5 because week 6 is not concluded yet. It just started on last night. And so only one team has played. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Denver hasn't had a bye week yet. Right. And San Diego hasn't either. 2 teams in the entire NFL have played 6 games out of 32 teams. But y'all rolling out Pro Bowl, what kind of, we don't have enough film to determine who should go to the Pro Bowl. And you already want us to vote? Are you kidding me? I know that there's a long season to go and we do get some time to vote. But why y'all even bringing it out this early? We're still trying to figure out if our team gonna put together a winning streak. Like, we trying to figure out, we still trying to figure out if certain teams can win 2 in a row. Some coaches might not even make it to week 7 at this point in time. You mean to tell me you putting out Pro Bowl stuff? Not Super Bowl, not a Super Bowl, but a Pro Bowl. Like, we can tell you who we think is going to go to the Super Bowl. Or who we want to go to the Super Bowl. We have no idea who to vote for in the Pro Bowl. I'm just so tickled by this. When you sent me the message that, hey, Pro Bowl voting starts today. And I had to look at the calendar, and I'm like, oh, it ain't even October 15th. It ain't even the middle of October yet. So I'm tripping and I'm thinking like, wow, teams started bye weeks week 4. Like, some teams already had bye weeks. Right. So they've lost the game. And y'all want us to pick Pro Bowl winners now? But nonetheless, do you have any locks of who you think will go to the Pro Bowl? Because, see, I'm looking at this as, by them putting out Pro Bowl now, this to me is kind of like walking into stores and seeing Christmas decorations right now. Can we get some Halloween candy? Where the Halloween candy at? Cause I walk in the store, I see the Christmas mats, and I see the wreaths to hang on my door. Man, where is the Halloween candy? You know,
Right.
where's the Thanksgiving decorations?
Right.
You know, what about Veterans Day? Can we get some flags out here or something? But that's how I feel about this Pro Bowl stuff rolling out. Like, this is like Christmas decorations coming out in the stores, and y'all ain't even respecting any of the other holidays first. So yeah, I'm really, really bugged out by that. I have nothing. I have no idea who to pick. Maybe Matt Ryan. Maybe Derek Carr. The only reason why I really can't get on Matt Ryan yet is because I've seen the Falcons start off 6-0, and I've seen him seen him have a tremendous start and collapse and didn't even make the playoffs. So I'm not even all the way sold on Matt Ryan yet. Maybe Derek Carr. Maybe your quarterback. Possibly Ben. Then like Le'Veon just came from suspension. Tom Brady just came from suspension. I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously, bro? Like, I don't know. At this point in time, I would fill the Pro Bowl up with a bunch of rookies. I'd put like Dak in there, right. Ezekiel Elliott, Booker, maybe even right. Henry. I mean, I have no idea why are they doing this so early. Like, I think they definitely need to push it back. The one good thing though about the Pro Bowl this year is it's not in Hawaii. They're moving it's in Orlando this year. Now I might be able to check that out because I mean, not saying like, of course, you know, when you don't gotta have a passport to go to Hawaii, you know, but that's a little bit of a longer flight. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. And then the time zone is completely different. I don't know if I'm ready for all that. See, Orlando's on the East Coast. We can roll with it. I don't really got to go out of my time zone. That's just a little bit down the road. I can holler at Mickey Mouse and stuff while we're down there. See, I might roll with this Orlando one. This is good stuff. I like that it's coming to Orlando this year. But again, I don't like that they rolled out where we got to start voting now. You won't get no vote from me until... Matter of fact, I got to vote for a president before I got to choose a president on November the 8th before I can tell you who I'm putting in the Pro Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, y'all might need to push that back a little bit. But again, what are your thoughts on the Pro Bowl ballot rolling out so early? And who, if anybody, would you select so far this early?
Well, you know, and I agree 100% with you on that. I think that it was just way too early for them to put that out. You know, I don't even, like, there are guys on the ballot who don't even have a touchdown yet.
Okay.
Like, I mean, it's like, how are you going to, you know, put this guy down as a Pro Bowler? The dude hadn't even been in the end zone. He ain't got no dances to end this year, no nothing. I think that, you know, they definitely need to push the Pro Bowl voting back. The Pro Bowl voting should probably start in the playoffs.
Good
you
point.
know, because, you know, then, you know, at least we, like, have a gauge of who had great seasons. You know, even if guys didn't make the playoffs, you still have a better gauge of who had a great season. You know, I think that right now we're at a point where we don't even know who's going to do what. You know, yeah, Matt Ryan is hot now. Yeah, Derek Carr's hot now. You know, like, you know, we got hot names right now. But this is still midway. You know, not even midway. We're not even halfway. There's a lot of football to be played.
Absolutely.
There's a whole lot of football to be played. You know, like, to me, teams are still trying to establish an identity.
Right.
We're still at a point where, you know, some of those guys you got listed on the ballot can end up going out, and some guy can step in and end up having a great season.
Okay.
So I think that it's unfair to those players who may step in and ball out, like a Cameron Meredith, for instance, you know, who stepped in for the Chicago Bears this past week and balled out. You know, like, it's guys like that, you know, who may step in for someone who was starting and ball out. And they're not even on the ballot. It's not fair, you know. So that's the unfair part about it, because you know they only list starters.
That too? Can we do like a write-in? Do we get to fill in or anything? What? Yeah. Well, whoever it is that put these ballots out, they're gonna have to be doing a whole bunch of adjusting throughout the course of the season. I'm not even through with this rant because I'm so just baffled about why y'all did this. Let me tell you the things I'm more worried about right now before the Pro Bowl. My college homecoming is this weekend. I ain't thinking about the Pro Bowl. Yep. I'm trying to get a fish sandwich.
Yep.
SAMMICH. Yeah. I'm going to DC to be on Good Morning Washington on Monday. I ain't thinking about no Pro Bowl. Who gonna win the World Series? Yep. We still in the playoffs with baseball. Look, ain't it Yom Kippur today? Mm-hmm. Something like that. Daylight savings time. You know, I gotta adjust to losing an hour. I mean, to losing an hour of sunlight. I gotta get ready and focus for that. I'm a little bit concerned about that. Again, voting. I gotta make sure that, you know, I get my I voted sticker and stuff like that. So maybe I can go to Chick-fil-A and get a free 4-piece by showing my sticker. I'm worried about that. Veterans Day. I want to go show some love to the vets. We're going to go out and have some breakfast and things. Make sure they get free breakfast and stuff like that. When is the flood waters going to go down? All the flood water going to go down in North Carolina? I'm worried about that. I'm concerned about that. That's on the timetable right now, not this Pro Bowl ballot, okay? Thanksgiving, how we going to split up these sides? Like, which one of my aunts is doing these sides? Who's doing the cake? Who's doing the pies? Which sides am I doing? What do I need to bring? What we having the Thanksgiving dinner? I'm worried about that. Why the kids got so many teacher work days? I ain't had this many. Like, I'm looking like they get teacher work day for this. They got fall break. The school, the sun is too dark for them to be out there at the bus stop. They get out of school for that. This is stuff I'm worried about. I'm not thinking about no Pro Bowl ballot right now. Come back to me later on, a little bit closer to around Christmas time. The other thing I'm thinking about as well is, what's the next good movie coming out? Kevin Hart movie about to come out. I'm trying to figure out what movie I want to go see. I ain't thinking about no Pro Bowl ballot right now. Are you kidding me? Are you rolling this out in week 6?
Yep.
Again, Tom Brady has played one game this year. Le'Veon Bell has played 2. We still waiting on Alden Smith. Wow. Just baffled. Seriously. I have no words. I have nothing on how this makes sense to the point to, because it's still so early in the season, I might mess around and accidentally vote for Calvin Johnson still. Like, I mean, shoot, I wasn't even ready for that. I ain't even completely healed from that yet. I might mess around be looking for Marshawn Lynch name yet. It ain't been enough time. It ain't been enough time to evolve yet. You got to be kidding me. This is terrible. Like you said, maybe close to the playoffs, because that way the season is gone. Also, what if we pick somebody and they mess around and get injured? Yep. God forbid. But I'm saying, I know they're going to do like replacements and stuff, but I don't think that that's fair for like some of these people. Only reason why they're playing is because such and such got injured.
Right.
Now,
because then they choose the replacement. So our voting was wasted.
Exactly, our vote was wasted. Didn't count. Next one up or whatever. They just kind of handpick from there. Now, it's different, like, when they're playing the Pro Bowl and then the Super Bowl comes about. It's like, well, this person's not playing in the Pro Bowl because they're playing the Super Bowl next week. That makes total sense. Mm-hmm. But this coming out right now for us to be able to start trying to decide, yeah, that's too. I might mess around and put in J.J. Watt still. I'm not ready. When I become commissioner, like I said, this is something we're probably going to roll out around the beginning of December. Yep. Something like that. Maybe like Thanksgiving, have it be Thanksgiving conversation. Y'all can, that's something you and your family can kind of banter about over Thanksgiving. But I don't know, interesting, really weird. But yeah, no picks for you either, right? You have no one as automatics.
To me, it's just it's just too early for that. It's too early. It's just too early to start calling people Pro Bowlers and to start calling spades a spade. Right. Teams can turn it around right now. There's a Cinderella team every season.
Absolutely.
So to me, it's just too early.
Right. NBA ain't even started. I just thought about that. I'm worried for NBA. I think I'm worried thinking about who's going to be in the Pro Bowl right now. Thanks again, you guys, so much for tuning in to another installment of the Jock and Jill podcast. Again, this is your girl, Latasha Miles, a.k.a. Joan, Madden, the Gridiron Goddess, and the Guru, the Mad Scientist here. Guru, tell the people how they can get a hold of you. If they want your Pro Bowl vote, if they want you to say who you're going to vote for in the Pro Bowl, how can they reach out to you? And when can they reach out to you for that? But yeah, tell the people how they can get a hold of you.
Like us at Cold Coffee TV on Facebook. Follow us at Cold Coffee TV on Twitter. Subscribe to us at Cold Coffee TV on YouTube. Shout out to Raider Nation, because I expect us to go out here and handle business this week. We in number 1. It feels good to be on top. Sitting on top of the world.
Ow.
Run with us and run from us, baby. You know the motto.
This guy's always so serious. I've never seen him smile so much. So thanks, Raiders. Really appreciate that. And as far as me, your girl of SheESPN the Network, I can be contacted on Facebook at Latasha Joan Madden Miles. Again, Latasha Joan Madden Miles on Facebook. Twitter and IG at she_SPN. Again, at she_SPN on Twitter and IG. The YouTube channel is SheESPN the Network. SheESPN the Network on YouTube, and I have a book out entitled When Football Season Turns You Into His Side Chick, The Ultimate Survival Guide for Relationships and Households During Football Season. I'm available now on CreateSpace.com and Amazon.com. Again, I want to shout out to my Rams for us homecoming this weekend, and DC, we're traveling. We're coming to see you on Monday. I'll be on Good Morning Washington between like 9 and 9:30. Also featured on the Redskins Den, recapping the Redskins and Eagles divisional game. So yeah, check us out. So going a little mobile this weekend here, and we'll be reporting with our next edition of the podcast live from DC as well.
Absolutely, bringing the Jock and Jill podcast to DC. Y'all support us, baby.
No doubt, we appreciate it. Thanks so much, and also like the new SoundCloud listeners that we've got, we're grateful to you as well. All right, so thanks again so much for tuning into the Jock and Jill podcast. We'll catch you the next time, and we're out.